and the whole leadership of PFF here present. Honorable Hari Salaso, the National Coordinator of ANT, and the whole leadership of ANT, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It's our pleasure to be here today. The date is 2nd July 2025. First, let me take this opportunity to congratulate the team on both sides. One, for the discipline. Meetings have been going on for a significant number of months, more than 3 months, possibly 4 or 5 months. To congratulate the teams because of the maturity exhibited. It is rare for something of this nature to be done over such a period of time, and it does not leak. It's very rare in this country. Discreteness and discipline are part of statecraft. So it looks like we are well prepared for managing state affairs. This is not just in response to the demands of the population. Over and above that is that we are compelled by logic. We are compelled by desire to salvage our country. We are compelled by the desire to ensure that we counter the narrative that General Museveni has systematically planned and executed in this country to a point that literally people follow what he says as if it is the truth. General Museveni never says anything carelessly. Everything is always planned for a purpose and as part of the psychological warfare campaign that he has waged consistently to a point where our population has literally been broken down, including at times leaders. This initiative is part of that desire to ensure that his psychological campaign is wiped out. What General Museveni knows best is that when you compromise the shepherd, the sheep scatter. He knows that. He knows what is on the ground. You heard what Honorable Semju was reading, the statistics, which are frightening. The reality of our situation now, where we're only 45 million people. Some of the young people who are here, by the time they hit their 50s, we're going to be close to 100 million people. But yet you get a sense within the population that nothing can be done. Even when they hear that General Museveni has been nominated for the party and for the presidency of the country on the ticket of NRM, people think that's a fait accompli, that it is finished. It is not finished. Because of the psychological warfare he wages, he has reached a point where some of the people ordinarily who should give leadership reach a conclusion that, you know what, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what is his purpose. Oh. No, I'm not going to mention that. People will make their own interpretation. It's a general statement of fact. It's been systematic, it has been relentless. And unfortunately, some leaders are falling for that. Therefore, logic compels us. Those of us who've been on these fronts for quite a long time, that we must organize ourselves to ensure that the state of hopelessness, the state of frustration in this country, in the population, is reversed. What terrifies General Museveni the most is a people who are disenchanted, but who are well organized and well led. That's why it targets leaders at a psychological warfare level. Today is just simply symbolizing that much as he has worked this campaign relentlessly, consistently, that there are still men and women who are still standing firm and they are resolved to continue executing this struggle until its logical conclusion. So we thank all the colleagues, PFF, ANT, for this day. Two, we are not only focused about taking power. We are focused on changing the political culture in this country. And a day like this really captures that, in the sense that those who are out need to understand that in politics you can have disagreements, but you don't have to be hostile against each other. Again, a culture which has been consciously, deliberately planted in our society. That when people disagree, even when they separate, that they should necessarily act as if they are enemies, done by General Museveni and the NRM regime. We are defying that, and this clearly shows that. Because had we been hostile to each other, there's absolutely no way we would have met. All this period of time, and those who've been in these meetings possibly would be talking to different individuals, in an atmosphere of, a free atmosphere, being honest with each other, and reaching the conclusions we have reached, because we have found common ground as a first step to what is going to continuously keep building until its logical conclusion. Because of time, of going into this election, on the basis of which we have built a common platform, what drives us on both sides is a common desire to see that we can have sanity in this country, so that even the generations that do come find that those of us now who are active in politics will have built a foundation for that to happen. So we would like to appeal to those who aspire for leadership, who at times, when they look around, the signs almost indicate that there's nothing one can do, and reach the conclusion which General Museveni desires them to reach, that if you can't beat them, join them. Don't join them. Because when you become a shepherd, credible shepherds fight for the flock. At least traditionally, and all come from traditions, where men who would be shepherds would get a spear and a shield or whatever weapon they have, so that when the flock is being attacked, they'll be on the front defending the flock. Administration is in favor of change, no doubt about that. When General Museveni was saying that by 2021 all political parties will be finished, he forgot that even if all political parties got finished, that does not change the desire of the population for change. Because even where leaders abdicate their responsibility and join the gravy train, people remain steadfast, moving towards the objective of being a free people. Three, I have seen General Museveni a number of times when he's fighting against foreign interests, talking about the issue of dignity. Many, many times he talks about it when he's confronting those who come this part of the world for exploitation of resources, indicating that he understands what dignity means. Dignity does not only play between the fight between the foreigners and Ugandans. Dignity also applies at the domestic level. Much as he wants dignity for the African people, we, the Ugandan people, also want dignity. So cooperation of this nature, while we're looking at all other issues of material things for the population, education, health, infrastructure, jobs, wealth, we are looking at the foundation of all that, the re-establishment of the dignity of our people. So leaders in the opposition, as well as those who are in the movement, need to understand that strong nations are built by strong people. So it's incumbent upon leaders to build people, even where they have weaknesses. What General Museveni does is that he breaks the strength of those who are strong and manipulates those who are weak, simply for purpose of control, in the process weakening the people and therefore also weakening the country. Because if you break down people to a point where they allow themselves to be compromised by 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings, that's the most painful thing that you can do to a people. Because it means you have broken down their sense of self-worth to that level. Leaders across the board, whether in the opposition, whether in NRM, the dignity of our people must be utmost when we aspire for leadership. Because when we abdicate our responsibility as leaders and the sheep scatter, then they become vulnerable further. Because they're in a state of hopelessness, literally. This is likely to be the first of perhaps a 2 or 3 step process. The leadership in PFF has been in touch with the leadership of NUP, and NUP has also been in contact with the PFF. PFF and, ANT and NUP have also been in contact. This simply happened today because it has matured. So we are in touch jointly now with the brothers in Loop to work on the maturation of what could become the second step. All sides looking for a common ground. Because there are times when you may not necessarily agree 100%. But if you have 5 issues and you agree on 4, it's absolutely no problem. Or 3. We have to counter Jerome Museveni's narrative that he has caused to develop in the minds of our people. That, you know what, this is just a walkover. That, you know what, if you can't beat them, join the gravy train. The country needs to know that the dedication of the leaders in the parties, 2, 3, recognize that. And therefore, that it is incumbent upon us, if for nothing else, but to ensure that we sustain hope where there is hopelessness and establish confidence in our people, because that's the only thing that is lacking. The elite need to wake up. Because they've been pushed to a point where, in their estimation, nothing can be done. So they think that, okay, let's just simply play safe. And that's why you find, I don't know your own experiences, but my own experience, I bump into so many people who are running on the NRM ticket. The number of constituencies where you find 3, 4, 5, 10, in some cases 15 people running on the same position. And I interact with many. I ask them. I know a constituency where there are about 12 people. And I have been in touch with a significant number of them, possibly close to 8 or so. So I ask them, I say, but do you believe in NRM? Say no. So I ask them, if you don't believe in NRM, so why are you standing on his ticket? So that's the only way. That's frightening. That's frightening. Because victory starts and ends in the mind. Wherever you are, whether it's in business, whether it is in the combat field, whether it is in politics. You first win in your mind. You see a situation. It may seem bleak, it may seem dark, but you are determined to engage until the logical conclusion of victory. Then, when you do that, you become victorious at the end of it all. But if you look at the situation and think, you know what? You are done. You are done. And therefore, when we combine effort and we sustain hope and we establish confidence, a tsunami of resistance will grow, because you cannot conquer a people unless they participate in their own defeat. You can't. You can't. So we thank you, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, for today. It's gratifying, it's encouraging, but we build a foundation. Those of us who will be getting out of politics down the road, that will leave the foundation on the basis of which this country, with a very fast-growing population, that our children, our grandchildren can live in an atmosphere where they have dignity. Some people don't seem to understand what that means. But it's at the core of our existence as people. Regardless of material things, we do get material things, yes. That's why all of us engage in businesses and send our children to, for education, so they can get jobs, they can get paid, and then they cater for their families. Yes, but at the core of that, a core of existence, is the notion of dignity. And we cannot let Genome 7 break that in our people. We have to fight day and night. Because the people without dignity are in a state of slavery, clearly. And nobody can ever make you a slave unless you participate in your own enslavement. And that starts at the mind level. Because authoritarian regimes, they can get you, they can throw you in prison, they can beat you up, they could even kill you. But that's the body. But when the mind is resilient, and even at the point of death, you are still standing in your mind, even if the body is on the ground, that's what terrifies authoritarian regimes. And that's why when leaders abdicate their responsibility, those who break down and say the only way we can go through is to join the gravy train. That's frightening. And we have to resist that. Today is part of that. Thank you, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Now we will have to work day and night, and the committees which are put in place work around the clock to ensure that this manifests in a smooth flow of activities that can be done. There's nothing under the sun that we cannot achieve once our hearts and minds are in it. And by the time we concluded this document, we could not read on both sides that our hearts and minds are in it. May God bless our effort.